Every February, the Irving Heritage Society celebrates Valentine's Day with a tea commemorating one of Irving's oldest traditions. Well, they couldn't have known that Cupid would actually show up at one of the teas and bring two very special people together.
The Irving Heritage House has a place in the hearts of many in the community.
It represents our city and the rich history that we've had in Irving.
And it's the birthplace of many of the city's most cherished traditions, like the annual Heritage Valentine's Tea. The event recreates the 1914 housewarming party, hosted by Mr. and Mrs. C.P. Schultz, down to the refreshments
I want one that's shaped like a heart.
and Valentine-themed decorations. But the gracious home has a place in former City Councilman James Dickens' heart for a very special reason.
I got to meet my future bride here.
In 2010, James was president of the Heritage Society and helping to host that year's tea.
It was my job to meet and greet and ask, little questions of whether they lived in Irving or whether they were out of town or where they heard from it.
Marcia had never attended before, but a friend invited her to come out.
I had a very close friend, Diane Mannon, who invited me to the Valentine tea.
Well, there were several of people that came in the door, and Marcia just caught my eye.
It was very crowded in here, and I had gone along outside the outer rooms down the hallway because it was packed in there around the food table.
I noticed that she went back where we have all our photographs, some of the old photographs of the Schultz family, and she was very interested in those photos.
And then I see him coming down the other end, and I didn't know he was president. I just remembered knowing who he was.
So I just went up and talked to her and asked the questions that I normally asked. Are you from here and all this, and so that kind of broke the ice.
I knew him from his political campaign, so I thought he was running for office. So I thought I had a politician approaching me.
Wanting her vote.
Wanting my vote. So I thought he was after me for my vote.
But a new political advocate isn't what James or Cupid had in mind. They started dating, and then
we went to a function for your church, somebody's birthday party.
Right.
We went that day, and then we were engaged by March 19th. So.
Yeah. Well, it was wonderful.
It was fun.
We
was
had it
fun.
at the Elks Lodge, and yeah.
It was lots of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
There
was no frills. We were kind of a Jean type wedding, and my pastor, associate pastor, married us, and we had our closest friends. Well, you're single 29 and a half years, and you're thinking, I have no real interest in pursuing a serious relationship, and through God's grace, you meet the one, and there's no sense in going real slow after that, and it's when you know.
Okay.
We're more than glad to have them there.
How are you? It's so good to see you, Mary.
this year Marcia is hosting the Valentine's tea with her real-life Valentine. And today they have to reflect that day at the Heritage House almost didn't happen.
My father passed away 2008 on Valentine's Day. So that changed Valentine's Day for my family and myself. And so then it was a sad time. So we speed forward to 2 years in 2010 on the Valentine's Day tea that I was invited to. And I needed to get out of the house that day.
Even when she got there, she hesitated.
I got to the door 3 different times. On the 3rd time, I turned that knob and came to the tea.
But she walked through the door, and inside the Heritage House, she found her future.
If it's in your heart, pursue it. Don't be scared. I mean, the worst that's going to happen is no. There'll be a little pain, but the most beneficial thing that could happen in your life, the fulfillment, would be that you found someone like I found Marcia.
This is Kathy Whiteman reporting.
I'm sure they don't promise true love at every Heritage Society event, but you should stay tuned for news on their next big event coming in April, a celebration of the life of Jackie Townsend, part of this year's Celebrating Irving.